Well, I worked with a large team at the July the 7th Assistance Centre, and we provided psychological support, psychotherapy and counselling to the bereaved, the survivors and the first responders who were all caught up in the July the 7th bombings.
And tell me just briefly what that was like. I mean, I guess it was something that London hadn't seen for, well, maybe forever. It was in complete shock. What was it like doing that sort of work?
Well, the people, of course, who came to us, their lives have been turned upside down completely. Yes, we'd had the bombings, the IRA bombings, but as you say, this was completely new. And people's idea of their world was completely shattered. And our work was to help them make sense, to give them meaning, and to put their lives back together again so they could go on living.
And tell me a bit about the programme that you developed as a result of what you learned.
Well, what we learned, working with a colleague of mine, Felicity Bigart, we learned that actually people can be prepared for these events. When we teach them about what happens to their physiology in a trauma, when we ask them and give them the space to prepare for a particular event, and then we give them some psychological tools out of neurolinguistic psychotherapy, which is based on NLP, we can then help first responders help organise themselves and learn before they go to an event, so that they have a swift return to their normal functioning after the event, and therefore there's a reduction in post-traumatic stress disorder.
And tell me a bit about the sort of things that the effect it does have on someone as a first responder, because we hear a lot about the people who actually died or were injured, but you kind of forget the people who actually were first on the scene. How does it affect someone?
Well, often it gives them a negative sense of themselves, and they have a sense of fear of future events, and that kind of builds up more and more. And then, of course, in our culture, that stress is pushed aside. Alcohol use, of course, drug use perhaps, and then family systems can break down. We noticed that with people, their work systems broke down, then people disconnected from their family, and at the end they kind of disconnected from themselves. And we noticed in the inquest, where we helped support people, that there were still some professionals who were still in pain, still hurting 5 or 6 years on from even this event.
I find it remarkable that this sort of thing wasn't really, wasn't being offered to people already. I mean, is it quite a new thing that you've developed?
Well, the perspective is new. It's now being taken up by the Army and the Armed Forces in their TRIM programme. But actually, it's about when there's an event, the first thing you want to do is get in and help. The first thing you want to do is make a difference. It's a new concept to then think about, let's do this in advance, prevention. So helping people so when they turn up to an event, they know what to expect of the event, and they know what to expect of themselves, and they have tools to be able to work efficiently and effectively. So when they come out of the event, they join a group of people who are falling into the group of post-traumatic growth. I've been through this, I can do this, I can take that on to the next event.